The Gentlementor.
We watched that. It was really good. And the other night I couldn't sleep. I'm doing this whole transition thing with my sleeping stuff.
Really?
And I couldn't sleep, so I got up at 2:30.
Ooh.
I'd slept from like 10 to 2, and so 2:30 came around. I got up, went in the living room, didn't want to disturb anybody, so I watched a few movies. And so I watched
A few.
Yeah, I watched Iron Man 3, and I watched Aeon Flux.
Yeah. Nice.
Charlize Theron movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Another one
I was a big fan of the animated series.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah.
The animated.
It's on Paramount Plus.
Is it?
MTV animated.
Yeah. Because it was part of Liquid Television. And I watched Liquid Television every week waiting for that. Yeah. It was great stuff. Great stuff. That stuff was great.
So anyway, yeah, there you go.
Cool.
I mean, that's all that comics are anyway, right? It's just escapism. It's a form of escapism.
Well, yeah. Kind of, sure. Everything sort of is.
Everything?
Well, I think it kind of like anything can be an addiction. Anything can be an escape if your mind is kind of shaped the right way and goes after the right things.
Okay.
I'm just painting broad strokes here. It occurs to me that you could probably something, if for me, that wouldn't be escape. Like, I have a terrible time getting my
Movies.
Not just movies.
Escape.
Some movies are really easy for me, but like fantasy, the older I get, the harder time I have with like fantasy stuff. Like even stuff that I loved as a kid is just not appealing to me because I don't buy it. For me to escape, something has to pull me into the story. It's got to be the story has to pull me away from myself, and then I'll go. But that can vary from day to day. Well, probably for anybody, what kind of mood you're in, what kind of thing you've just seen, what kind of thing you're not in the mood to see. It's more likely for me at this age to be 1917 than anything with superheroes or stuff in it.
Gotcha.
Stuff like that's so visceral that it kind of grabs you and pulls you in. You're kind of in there with them. Well, sort of the same thing podcast does.
Yeah, I think those things are, and I think naturally in our lives that those things will change as we change as well, as we grow, as we get older, as our thoughts and desires and maturity level changes. I remember when I was going through a tough time when we lived in Arkansas. I was going through a tough time, and
I think you said it all right there.
I just said it all. Arkansas.
In Arkansas.
The only thing that got me through was
Glenn.
I had purchased the box DVD, the 5 DVD set of Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. And I would I burned that CD through with lasers because I watched that thing all the time. That was just the thing that I went to for some reason. It was it was a story that pulled me out of that. And it was, it's sad because it was a dark time in my life, but it's also a very dark movie, as you know that. The first part is great. It's when they're in Hobbiton and, in the Shire and everything's sunshiny and green and clean.
When they're out in the woods dark. And those scary things start coming after them, that's not fun.
Everything gets really dark. And then the second one was very dark, and then the third one, brings itself back out. But, that's the only thing that kept my sanity, I think, was watching that movie and I think feeling the same kind of feelings that Frodo is going through and feeling that whole relating to him really well. Now I watch it today and I'm just like, And then I watch the Hobbit movies too, and they're really good too. But I just can't continue to watch those over and over like I did Fellowship of the Ring for sure.
At probably around the same time, and I was having similar kind of issues and different geography. That's when I got really heavily invested in Sopranos for the same reason. Because The Sopranos presented me like a situation where I didn't feel like I wasn't in control. I was friends with the boss. And so going along with him and watching him like show people how it was going to be, it was a very empowering feeling. And then the other thing was Anthony Bourdain. And the traveling and eating.
Yeah, his show that he did, And
I realized later what it was a social need. He was my surrogate for you. He was my drinking buddy. That's what I would watch late at night when everybody else went to bed and didn't want to put up with me. He was my drinking buddy.
That's what.
And he would go to China and eat like a snake dipped in like penis oil and
my favorite,
drink and do crazy, go get a tattoo, and it was like it was vicarious. It was the same thing. I could go in there with him. Yeah. And I was taking that trip too. There was another little oddball guy that had a show on, I think, Hulu. It was like a little indie show that lasted like 3 seasons called 3 Sheets. And that's all he did was like travel to different places and talk about their drinking culture. And extremely humorous, funny, very like on the what we would have done if we had a similar show feel. Adored that thing. I would watch that still because it was just fun. It was total escapism. But yeah.
Where is the Anthony Bourdain stuff right now? You know?
Some of it's on. Is it on Disney? It's around. I've seen it. I was watching. What was the show then? Was No Reservations. That was the last. Was No Reservations.
He's the reason why you can't get a bottle of Pappy's Van Winkle anymore.
Yeah. Because he did that episode.
Right.
That's the first place I ever heard of it. Yeah, he sat down with the Van Winkles and was drinking their whiskey. But, the dude that did the Little Stupid Drinking Show went there. And they same deal. They sat down with him, too, and he got the whiskey.
Little Stupid Drinking?
It was 3 Sheets.
Oh, 3 Sheets. Okay.
3 Sheets. Zane Lamprey was the guy that hosted it. He's like, I can go back and look at him now and go, yeah, he almost kind of looks like you. I'm like, I was surrogating hard. I was looking for you on TV. So
wow,
yeah.
That's pretty intense. 3 Sheets. I gotta look at it.
And
one
then
thing that I
Dexter,
really started.
Also Dexter. Because Dexter always talked to, and not because of any of the stuff that Dexter's about, none of the stuff anybody else liked, because Dexter kept talking about, I have this dark passenger. There's this dark part of me that will come out and make me do things I don't want to do. And that part of it, spoke to me very heavily.
Interesting. Zane Lamprey?
Yeah, Zane Lamprey.
Huh. Something and I haven't watched Dexter before, so I don't know anything really about that. And I've heard.
I mostly watched it with my wife. She liked it a lot, but that part, like I said, the internal monologue stuff in that was more to me than any of the rest of the show.
The one thing that I have really been enjoying, because you're talking about the Anthony stuff, was Stanley Tucci's got a new thing called Finding Italy.
Finding Italy, I saw that the other day.
It's on CNN. Oh man, I love it. Not only do I like,
I thought I saw it on HBO.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah. But I just like watching him and hearing him talk, and then seeing the Italian culture and everything, because he's Italian on both sides of his family. And so he's hitting up these restaurants in the different parts. And so he did all the 9 provenances of Italy. And, anyway.
Sweet.
Just watching that stuff just makes me, not only does it make me hungry, it makes me want to go to Italy as well. And be hungry in Italy.
Yeah. You ain't got to tell me, Chief. I know. That's why I had to watch how much of that stuff I watch, because I was sitting around being sad all the time.
And he goes just to make margarita pizza, and they go out and get all the ingredients. What is it, 6 ingredients or whatever they go out and get?
We go milk the cow.
Tomatoes off the vine. They get the mozzarella cheese from this plant that's been making mozzarella cheese for 900 years. And
the buffalo mutts.
And they go to the basil fields and pick basil themselves and stick in their pockets and come back and make pizza. It's crazy.
I know. I love that stuff. If I could have ever picked a career for myself, it probably would have been something like that. But
it's not too late.
I disagree. COVID says you're wrong.
That's what we should do. All right. So if we go back to our idea that we had about getting out and going on a road trip, because we talked about doing that. What if we talked about COVID dining out? COVID dining. That's what we could call it.
Eating Rona.
Think about how that would show up on searches if it were COVID dining.
Probably with a warning that you should go somewhere else for your information about COVID. That's my guess.
Yes, it probably would come up. So, which by the way, this reminded me. You put something on one of our. I don't know if you saw this or not, but Deborah's like, why is there a warning on you guys' video on Instagram? Something that you put out.
I probably said something about COVID or something. Where you said something about COVID.
No. You put a one of the emojis or one of the stickers on there, the GIF stickers. That was the mouth. And so it was what was it, speaking against slavery or something like that, shouting out against something. And so it was the mouth with the lips and teeth. And so when you put it on there and when you pull it up, it pulls up a little thing at the bottom, like you would see, like it would say, sensitive content or get code information.
Right.
It was like learn more about shouting out against slavery or humanitarian.
Yeah, look, we're standing up for we're the good guys.
That's what it was. And it was like, that must have come with that GIF. And
they got all this when you do the story thing. They've got all these little stickers, but they don't tell you what any of them are or what they mean. I'm like, I don't know what
exactly.
this is. This looks cool.
Pick one that looks good and you throw it on there. It's like,
at least I was standing up for something good, You were
standing up for something.
Maybe kill baby seals. It was, we're mad at slavery. That's good. Unlike my Viking football game when I made a racial slur against all you white people for some reason.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I missed that. Was that on the live stream?
Yeah. I was talking about the history of football and how football was invented by Vikings who came over and we used to pillage and stuff, and that was cool. We could use heads and arms and legs, but then we had to dumb it down for all you white people so you'd play with us. So we got rid of all that and just did it with a ball. And I'm like, well, I probably sounded racist, but I'm like, I can racially insult white people. Nobody's getting mad about that. I'm one of them.
Right, exactly. You're white privilege. You can insult white privilege people.
These gringos. The freaking honkies.
That's hilarious. That'll be your next. Instead of Viking and robot, it'll be Viking and cracker.
Yeah, it almost was. Yeah, but you put me on there, give me a glass full of air and a bowl full of peanuts and an hour on the internet, I'm bound to say something stupid. It's going to happen. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Most of the rest of the traffic was probably me. There's about 2 or 3 people on most of the live streams, but hardly any kind of interaction or anything. And yeah, it's just kind of an exercise in stressing myself out to do this and then making myself go through it and then sitting at the other end of it going, what are you doing? 50-year-old dudes don't do this shit, bro.
Yeah, they do. You can do whatever you want, man. You're 50. Pretty soon.
I know. Well, I already did it.
In the next 20 years, you can say whatever you want.
I can't
do whatever you want and say whatever you want. So you can say about all them white honkies and crackers playing football because nobody's going to care because you're 70. You're 80 years old. Nobody cares. They're like,
nobody mouths a Viking. Nobody mouths a Viking when he's drinking. No, it's all good. It's funny to me. Like I said, that's the flip side of self-awareness. It's like when you just did something and you're sitting there looking at yourself going...
First of all, it's brave as hell. That's that.
I don't know. See, that's what I don't know. I'm like, at one point, I'm like, oh, it's really brave. I'm like, or you're psychotic. Or you're just stupid.
Yeah,
you've got some kind of brain problem that you were never diagnosed as a children.
I think that old adage that says that one man's trash is another man's treasure. I think the same thing is true for being courageous and psychosis. I think one man's courage is another man's psychosis. Right. So I don't put that on a T-shirt. I don't know. I think that's because. We all look at the things that you do or the things that we talk about doing, and someone's like, I could never do it. I could never get up in front of people and speak. It's like, I'd rather get up in front of people and speak than read a book,
Yeah. Or getting up in front of people speaks a lot easier than going home with your brain after you've spoken to people wondering, what did I say wrong? Did I offend anyone?
Am I getting fired today for that?
Luckily with my career, I can just take that as a given. You probably offended someone. Let's figure out who it was and how badly we offended them. Is an apology in order, or we just let it go?
You also have to look at, who's going to fire you.
Nobody from this.
If they do fire you, it's not going to change anything. You can just move to a different platform.
This is what happens when everyone's fired you.
Yes.
You show up on YouTube.
I've been fired by everybody.
That's right. YouTube can't fire me. Well, they could, but they probably won't.
Maybe that's why you have the courage. It's because you've done been walked over by the leaders of humanity.
I've been doing this forever.
Doing what? Doing live streams as a 50-year-old? No, you haven't.
Doing stupid stuff for no reason in front of people.
Yeah,
I've told you the robot costume story, right?
No.
You've heard that story? God,
Maybe,
I haven't told you that story.
You mean Andy's costume?
No.
Oh, the robot.
No. My robot costume.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have told me.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like, that's everything. It's what I've always done. It's what I've always been doing. I just don't know why.
Again, it's not. And I get from your perspective, it says stupidity, but from other people's perspective, it says bravery. It says guts. It says balls.
I'm not convinced that it's stupidity. I don't think it's stupidity.
Okay.
It's just that after I do it, I'm like, was that brave or was that just stupid?
Oh, we
I don't
all
know.
do that.
Well, yeah. I assume we all do in some form. I'm not sure why it is that I. Like I said, you've had pretty close contact with the inside of my brain. So I'm sitting there last night, and I'm being this animated puppet, and there's not really anybody there, and I'm just like, the conversation going on in my brain was like, I don't really want to be in here anymore. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? You're talking to yourself on a computer. Shh. I'm trying to talk to myself on a computer. That's not helping. So, yeah. I don't regret any of it. I'm not down on it. It's nothing like that.
Good,
it's just
good.
It's the same
That's the
morning
best thing
after
I've
thing.
heard.
It's the same thing as the after the conversation, what did I say wrong thing. It's going back over it, and you got to do that, micromanage. I call it micromanaging myself. But it's always the stuff that's already passed. You're not going to change it, but you got to get pick through every little thing of it. And
Right. Well, I was on that live stream. I saw that one. Were you doing
Which one?
Were you doing Dirt Hippie? Dirt Hippie and Robot? The one that Andy was on. No, it was Dirt Hippie
yeah.
and Yard Sale Guy.
Traveling Doug and Wholesale Yard
Traveling
Sale.
Doug.
Yeah.
Traveling Doug and Wholesale
Yeah, we
Yard
did the banjo guitar thing.
Yes, yes. So I was on for part of that one. I missed the others. I apologize. So I really wanted to be.
Yeah, golly.
Some good questions. I had some really good questions. Like,
And you hardly ever get a chance to hear me sit and babble on the internet. Man, one day a week's not enough. I want to devote a whole weekend to listening to Doug babble on the internet. Oh, he's going to put on stupid costumes too? Woohoo!
wow.
Wow.
That man's got balls. Wow.
Do you know, here's the funny thing. Here's and I'll credit this unto the Lord because I like to. So my YouTube stream this weekend, as I'm doing all this stuff and promoting all this stuff, something starts showing up in my YouTube stream. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You're doing the
Marvel Easter eggs?
No. You're doing the mirror thing to me. You're doing this is why do you wear red shoes part 2.
Okay. All right. What was it? I'm ready.
Benny Hill.
No.
I freaking adored Benny Hill. Like when I was like 9-10 years old.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Who didn't?
Everything.
Did your dad watch Benny Hill?
My aunt, I watched it because it came in cable on Hannibal. When I was in Hannibal for the summers, I stayed with my aunt and mowed the lawn at the nursing home.
Yeah.
Every night, baby. Every night, Benny Hill, 10 o'clock. Hadn't even thought about it in years, and it came on, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm Benny Hill. I'm Benny Hill. That's what I'm doing.
No, you're not, because you're not a registered sex offender.
Was Benny Hill a registered sex offender?
No, but he would be today.
I'll say that probably, yeah. Yeah, you couldn't do that show now.
No.
But we watch the old Price is Right reruns in the morning.
Yeah.
You want to talk about stuff you can't do now? Bob
kidding.
Barker, the stuff he got away with?
Yeah. Richard Dawson, the same things.
Oh, dude, we watched Match Game this morning. Oh, was when Richard Dawson was on the panel, and oh my goodness, I'm like, this stuff would get raw. Watching Bob Barker, like this dude got called, and he comes out of this row of people, and he has a hard time getting, because he's like in the middle of the row, and he comes out, and he gets up on stage and says, well, the reason you had such a hard time is because we put him in a row of Weight Watchers out here, and it's like, wow. There's some girl run down the aisle jiggling. All the guys in the audience were watching you.
Oh my goodness, I know.
Hey, Bob,
I know. All the time.
Bob.
I talk about stuff. I see stuff on TV, and I tell Deborah, I'm like, man, they were today. I'd be in jail if I said they were.
No way, man. No way.
The Gentlementor.